Welcome to Politics Done Right on KPFT. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Give me a call at 713-526-5738. That is 713-526-KPFT. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you for spending one more hour with me this week. And, of course, I have here in the studio with me the one, the only, the best engineer around, Shannon.
Oh, gosh. Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you, as always, Egberto.
Egberto, and we're going to have some fun, aren't we?
Definitely.
We're going to have some fun, and we're going to talk some issues today, and we're going to get serious today. And, I have a long blog of the week to read today. It's not going to be too long because I'm going to try to go through it pretty fast. But, what are we going to talk about today? But before I even get into what we're going to talk about today, I want to remind folks of one thing. We've already purchased a 100,000 watt transmitter, which is going to give us the power to get through the entire Southeast Texas, all over the place, to ensure that our message can get out. But we need you to do something, folks. Go to kpft.org and help us bring that baby home. Help us bring that baby to the tower. Remember, it's 100,000 watts, one of the biggest stations here in Houston. So, and you know what? Given that we're already streaming online, you can see it all over or you can get it all over the entire country. Folks, last night, I went to I actually did it as a blogger. I went last night to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders had house parties throughout the country, and over 100,000 people signed up. I went to one in the role of as a vlogger, and I was actually blown away by the group of people attending. Bernie Sanders has been accused of having supporters that do not reflect the demographics of America. It seems like Black Lives Matter protests at Netroots Nation 2015 had a pretty darn good effect on it, because I tell you what, not only his messaging, but the way he has put all this stuff together actually looks pretty darn cool. This particular Bernie Sanders house party did not only reflect America, it reflected Houston, it reflected Texas. Moreover, the stream beamed into homes throughout the country was also very diverse. Bernie Sanders has not changed his message. He has enhanced his message. He made it more reflective. He made it more inclusive. Currently, the polls still show Hillary Clinton with a substantial lead. It also shows Bernie Sanders constantly chipping away. Will there be a real populist versus status quo Democratic primary after all? Will there be that sort of a thing after all? Well, you know what time it is? It is going to be approaching that time where we go with the blog of the week.
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay, folks. We're gonna. This is a blog of the week. I wrote this. I started writing this last night after I left that Bernie Sanders event. After reading a whole set of stuff on Daily Kos with some discussions as far as Bernie versus Hillary, etc., and I had to come up with this because I think we have to take a pause here. So I titled it, Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders, a fight for the soul of the Democratic Party. That's the title of the blog of the week. And here it goes. There is an epic battle being fought in the Democratic Party. While it is getting coverage, the context of the coverage is all wrong. The battle is not about who best serves Democrats. It is about the soul of the Democratic Party. It is about what it will mean to be a Democrat going forward. First, a bit of background. And here I'm going to get a little bit in the weeds, but stay with me here. Stay with me. It's very, very important. Goes as follows. Democrats sold out their values over the last 30 years. Ronald Reagan successfully gave the country a semblance of supply-side economic success. Reagan used Keynesian economics with a supply-side facade. He slashed taxes mostly for the wealthy and supplemented the shortfall with deficit spending. When the economy recovered, taxes were never raised to appropriate levels, and the country was served with deficits ad infinitum. The double injection of money into the economy from deficit spending and tax cuts gave America not real prosperity, but something I call the semblance of prosperity. The semblance of prosperity, the mirage of prosperity. George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton continued Reagan's supply-side economics with a bit more common sense as taxes were raised and the top-line budget was brought into balance. For a very short time, of course, because you know what came after that. Clinton believed in triangulating to win. Remember that Clinton didn't win with plus 50% of the vote each time. He won with under 50% of the vote. But he did the perfect triangulation, plus independent candidates were helpful as well. Unlike Obama, which actually got not a plurality, but a majority of the vote. Anyway, Clinton believed in triangulating to win and triangulating to govern. In the process, he gave a huge gift to Wall Street. He allowed the repeal of Glass-Steagall, which, along with George W. Bush's fiscal ineptitude, virtually destroyed not only the United States economy, but the world's economy in 2008. The election of President Obama decidedly provided a progressive path with not enough progressivism for most, but it was in effect a progressive turn. If one listened to Obama in 2008, he always spoke about turning the juggernaut slowly or nudging the juggernaut. You know, this big, heavy America, it can't be moved on a dime. Under President Obama, we got semi-universal health care, marriage equality, a leap in green energy, and much, much, much more that we could enumerate. But like every other president, he allowed himself to be convinced by the plutocrats that free trade, the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership, the one he did with Korea and several other partnerships that really has done very little for the Americans, is good for the American worker in as much as it has never worked out that way. And let me repeat that. But like every other president, he allowed himself to be convinced by the plutocrats that free trade is good for the American worker in as much as it has never worked out that way. But again, President Obama never promised to be revolutionary. He promised to nudge the country in the right direction. After 6.5 years of Obama and his promised nudge of the juggernaut, Democrats must decide if they want to continue the progressive move or maintain the status quo. The progressive move is the real realization of FDR's second Bill of Rights. The status quo is a continuation of supply-side economics that encompasses low taxes for the wealthy, low wages for the masses, wealth extraction by penalizing wages while favoring investments, and the commoditization of the American worker through offshoring. In other words, the policy of saying we extract the wealth from you poor folk because a few of us want to live better than the rest of the world. Many Democratic activists believe that the battle for the more progressive direction needed to rebuild the middle class and mitigate the poor is at risk. They believe Bernie Sanders offers real middle-class-centric policies. They believe Hillary Clinton, even detached from her husband's policies, are too attached to the will of the plutocracy, to the will of the wealthy, to the will of Wall Street. To be clear, based on current polling, both these candidates would beat any Republican running. Assuming that is true, Americans really have two distinct choices in this election. Democrats have the option of laying out the path for the next generation, just as Ronald Reagan had for the current generation. Reagan's path has decimated the middle class. President Obama wanted to be as transformative as Ronald Reagan. He said so. He said as much. He surpassed that in the aggregate as he has taken the country to a fork in the road. Americans must now decide if they will take an aggressive path for the one that made income inequality and wealth disparity vogue. As Democrats begin choosing the path, there is unnecessary dissension in the ranks. The owner-publisher of the largest liberal site in the country, Marcus Maulitsas, a Hillary Clinton supporter, wrote a tough piece at The Hill that challenged Bernie Sanders. It was challenged immediately by a blogger and Bernie Sanders supporter at Daily Kos in a less than civil manner. The messaging broke down into animosities between Democratic liberals that is totally unnecessary and destructive. Chris Reeves, another Bernie Sanders supporter and Daily Kos vlogger, attempted to bring some sanity and cool into the debate. I did my part by laying out very important facts that supporters of either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders should heed. And this is what I said. The reaction of many in our liberal base to Marcus Maulitsas and the Black Lives Matters is the exact reason why Hillary Clinton is the only Democrat likely to win. I love Bernie Sanders' economics message to black and brown and others. While the message is great, many do not see the realization of that message necessarily get into them. As an example, when the housing market boomed, the brown and black population came on. They were happy they got into the system. And at the end, they lost it all when they got it last and they lost it first. For Bernie to win, as he says himself, you need a revolution. A revolution requires a movement that looks like America. Bernie Sanders' movement does not. Many supporting Bernie Sanders cannot see that an economic message is not enough. Hillary Clinton currently has a hodgepodge coalition, and as such, the pragmatic choice for most would be Hillary Clinton. Do you want Bernie Sanders? Do you think his message is one that can address all Americans? An insular view will not get us there. It requires seeing America through the eyes of many. My friends, I did not see that at Netroots Nation, and I am not seeing that in the reaction to Marcus Maulitsas' The Hill piece. If you want real change from our current monarchy, there is a hell of a lot of work to be done at the grassroots in the suburbs, the barrios, the ghettos, the cities, the farms, etc. Most are rallying and blogging and not engaging broadly. You want change, you better engage. You want Barney, you better engage. But just thinking because he sounds great and he has great policies and he's been consistent, that doesn't win elections. And we can go into that. I hope some callers bring that. That would be a wonderful discussion. Anyway, as Democrats ponder the direction they want to take the country, it would do them well to read a piece in The Nation by William Greider titled How the Democratic Party Lost Its Soul, and ensure the mistakes are not repeated. So far, Sanders seems to be more nimble and malleable candidate attempting to return a soul to the Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, continues to move only as far as she needs to. There are risks and rewards for each method. If there is a revolution in thought, if Americans finally get fed up, the status quo cannot win. If there is a fracture in the liberal base, no Democratic candidate can win. It is time for Democrats to first build a base by widespread community engagement and identifying the different needs of all communities. Needs are not just economic. Democrats must then choose a direction based on all the needs of the various communities. That direction will identify who makes the best candidate. In other words, bluntly, we have to do the work. Folks, this is a call-in show. I have calls waiting. I'm coming to you in a minute. Please do remember it's a call-in show. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Let's go with the first call. I think that is Linda.
Not her yet. Number two.
Her yet. Number two. Go ahead. I think that is Randy. Or not Randy, whoever just got on the air. Mike?
Mike.
Talk to me, Mike.
Hi, Egberto. I, in fact, just sent you an email before your show came on about an item I saw in the paper today, which is a little off topic of what you're talking about, but may be of interest.
Tell me about it.
Today is the 60th anniversary of President Dwight D. Eisenhower signing the measure making In God We Trust the national motto, replacing E pluribus unum out of many one. And I'm wondering if it might be worthwhile sometime to perhaps revisit this issue and ask the question, are we still out of many one, or are we not? Are we going into something different?
You know something? First of all, I don't see how that you could possibly think that is off subject.
Okay.
I don't see how you could possibly think that is
Well,
that is directly on subject, because one of the things that the Democrats have to realize is exactly that. Many. So, I mean, I think it fits the profile or it fits the show very well, Mike. Anything else you want to add to that, my friend?
Well, I'm just wanting to give a little example here that perhaps we Americans are seeing a different version of America these days. Case in point is that our governor and lieutenant governor openly said they would not support the laws of the United States. They are disavowing their oath of office.
Right.
When they say that county clerks do not have to give birth certificates to GLBT, when the Supreme Court had just recently confirmed that this was the law of the land.
Well, I mean, that is so like them right now. We have some rebels that these guys want to revisit the Civil War. These guys want to revisit states' rights. These guys want to revisit all these issues. Now, the only thing is going to stop this, right, is when we all get together and really vote the bombs out. They can do all this kind of stuff that they want because we've given them permission to do so. You know, I mean, a lot of times we complain about, oh, they're doing X, Y, Z. They're not doing anything to us. We did this to ourselves. Here in Texas, we decided that we were going to vote in an evil manner that allowed 1 million Texans to not have health insurance by electing a government that refuses to accept the taxpayer money that Texans have paid for Medicaid expansion. I see Shannon saying, Egbert, I got to do traffic. So let me put you on hold a second so Shannon can get her traffic out, and we'll come right back. And guys that you're holding, I'm coming to every single one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Egberto. Okay, in the forecast for today, it's a mixture of clouds and sunshine, and a high around 100 degrees, 20% chance of a stray shower or thunderstorm through tonight. Partly cloudy skies early Friday, and 50% chance of scattered thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. And when we take a look at the current temperature, it is 100 degrees and partly cloudy skies here in the heart of Montrose, and it feels like 105 out there. A few incidences to report at this moment. First of all, on the North Loop westbound at North Main Street, a wrecked vehicle is affecting the center lane and right lane, backing up traffic from Shepherd to Irvington. And on 290 Northwest Freeway outbound at Magnum, a stalled bus is affecting the right lane. And on 59 at East Tex Freeway inbound at Cross Timbers, an earlier accident was just cleared from the right lane, shoulder, and 2 center lanes and entrance ramp. Traffic is still backed up to Mount Houston. Back to you, Egberto, in the studio.
Muchas gracias. Anyway, before I forget, folks, this is a call-in show. We still have a couple lines open as well, and all those that are holding, I'm coming to you in a second. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738.
Linda just wants to listen.
Okay. Now, let me come back to you, Mike. Like I was saying, one of the reasons I think I do what I do, and I know you do what you do, is because we want to enlighten folks and let folks know, empower folks to know that they have to go out there and make things happen. In other words, what many folks have been doing and why we have the Texas and the state that is in for quite a few of its people is because people just don't participate in the political process because they don't think they make a difference. And what it is our job to do, your job, my job, all those folks that are listening to here, is that no, don't let these folks fool you. We make a difference if we just participate. Mike?
Correct. Oh, I agree. Yes, that's why I'm going to. I was at Bernie function last night.
Right.
And I understand now that there is a Texans for Bernie group that's starting up that wants to coordinate all these local groups, or at least facilitate their working together. So when it comes time that we need to start sending out petitions to get Bernie on the ballot, then we will have an organization that will greatly speed that up, because really time is of the essence.
Right.
The primary is March 1st. That's going to be here before the blink of an eye.
Right, absolutely.
And we need to work starting now to get Bernie recognized, name recognition out, and get people thinking about what is best for them.
Right.
Who the best candidate is for everybody.
Right. Now, let me qualify something here. As a host of this show, as a host of other shows, I want to make it clear that I am not overtly supporting any one candidate, nor will I overtly support any one candidate. What I do want to ensure is that all candidates get their presence. And what we found in the mainstream media at this point in time is that they are concentrating on a few candidates and making folks believe that they only have these particular choices. One of the reasons in a lot of the writings being done, there was a preponderance in my writing, let's say, on Bernie, was because he has been shortchanged by the actual media out there. And I believe in fairness. We should all be fair with all the candidates. But again, I read you. Anything else you want to add, Mike?
No, I think I've said pretty much my piece, so I appreciate your show very much. And keep on.
Thank you, Mike, and I'll tell you the same thing. Keep on keeping on, and let's keep engaging folks to make sure that folks go out there and do what we all know we need to do. So let's go on to Jerry. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Jerry, you're hot.
No, it's Terry.
Terry, how you doing, Terry?
I'm good. How you doing?
All right, talk to me.
Listening to your show, recently back from a little sabbatical. Interesting topic. I continue to have issue with Hillary Clinton, not personally, but her as a candidate. I don't think that she is going to be anointed as she seems to think. I think that she's got problems that trail her from the core of who she is that are going to endanger her campaign.
Right.
I don't think that this issue with the email server is going to go away, because I think it speaks to the larger issue that is pervasive throughout her political career, and that is that she simply bends the rules to fit what she wants at the time. And she is unwilling to play by the same rules as everybody else, because she sees herself as either A, above them, or B, immune from the laws that everybody else has to adhere to. And I think that's going to bite her. I think that Bernie Sanders is not quite the insurgent candidate that people think that he is. I think he's a legitimate candidate. I don't know that he has the momentum or the grassroots machine to overtake her initially, but I think that once she gets torpedoed with some of this, if there's no other word to say it, the personality defect of her inability to follow and adhere to the rules, I think he'll overtake her.
Yeah, the way I see it is no candidate at all, Terry, should be anointed. And I think it's upsetting. And not only should no candidate be anointed, the fact of the matter is, if someone falls after being anointed, you're left with no backups, nothing to fall back on. But that said, I don't even get into I know a lot of folks make a whole lot of issues with, and before, let me tell folks again, folks, this is a call-in show and we have lines open, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. I want to hear your opinions, whether you're a Bernie supporter, Hillary supporter, or maybe you're a Republican that want to have your piece, and I'd love to hear from you. 713-526-5738. It's your show. Anyway, Terry, one of the things that I want to add is, a lot of people have been concerned about the email servers and all that kind of stuff. As a person who, is in the computer business, software writing, and that sort of stuff, it never really, it concerned people, right? But it never concerned me, because I knew it's an issue. When they talk about her hiding stuff on her server, whoever told Hillary Clinton that having her own server allows her any kind of privacy with her emails, they were dreaming, because once an email leaves your server, it's in the ethos, if you know what I'm speaking about. So
I agree, but that's the mechanics.
Right.
The overriding issue isn't the mechanics of how this does or does not get hidden. The overriding issue is the attempt. The only reason to not use a sanctioned government email is to hide something.
Right. I don't disagree with you at all, Terry, but what I'm saying is, for those who think that she could have hid anything, or if she thought she could have hidden anything, that she's sadly mistaken, because you cannot, I
agree with that.
Yeah, you cannot. So anyway, Terry, you want me to keep you on hold, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to listen.
Okay, let's go Terry on hold, and let's go to Jacob. Terry on hold and Jacob? Okay, let's go. Jacob, how you doing?
Doing okay. How's it going?
Excellent. Talk to me.
I'm a misengineering for you, but I'm sure you're in Shannon's good hands.
Hey, how you doing, Jacob? Talk to me. Tell me your piece.
Doing okay. First of all, up front, I understand there are reasons why you won't openly support one candidate over another. And I get that you got to do that. I, however, will openly support Bernie Sanders. I am first and foremost a Bernie Sanders guy. Mm-hmm. After a long spell of political ennui, this is definitely probably one of the first candidates that I'm going to get involved with that I've actually cared about.
Right.
And I think it's going to be a very interesting primary race. And I'm also going to talk about Donald Trump here in a second, and why, even though I don't want him to win, I still love his candidacy. I'll get into that. But this does have to do with Bernie Sanders, because I think when you have candidates like, the senator from Walmart, Boeing, and Goldman Sachs that's embodied in Hillary Clinton, the oleaginous political chameleon for whom lying seems to be the core of who they are, or when you have someone who's flat, wooden, and unrelatable as Mitt Romney, I think it's actually quite easy to see why both Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are doing so well in their respective camps, even if Donald Trump is saying things that are just flagrantly offensive.
Let me just say, yeah, you're right about Trump saying something flagrantly offensive, but the most important thing, I don't like when folks put Trump and Sanders in the same on polar opposites or anything like that, because I don't think it does justice to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a political intellect, while Trump is really a disgrace to society in general. So
I mean, the only reason why I put them on polar opposites is on the grounds of their relatively high appeal to their respective camps. I don't mean to.
But what I'm saying,
intellectually,
I know what I want to add, Jacob, and not to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say this real quickly, is that remember, one is appealing to the better good in folk. That's Bernie Sanders, the better good in humanity, and what Trump is doing is appealing to all the negative vibes, the carnality of man, and it's hard. It's hard for me to give any credence. In fact, I likely would not have given Trump notion on this show, because I think his mere name disregards the humanity of the country. But continue, my dear friend.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have any disagreements with that at all. Certainly, I mean, I like Bernie Sanders specifically because he appeals to the better angels, if you will. I like the Donald Trump campaign, if only because that is a complete train wreck, and that dumpster fire is warm, and it's a comedy goldmine in the sense that this guy's going to fall apart, and it's like everything that he does is going to build up to that. Which is why I say I have no interest in seeing him, win the presidency, but I am entertained by how stupid he sounds. However, I kind of have this sneaking suspicion that, and I'm going to reference Ian Haney Lopez in the Dog Whistle Politics.
Kind of do it fast for me, because my line that got all of them loaded now, and I have to start going through.
Okay, no worries. I think Trump is going to do better than among Hispanics than I think a lot of people think, because I think I suspect he'll try to exploit differences between, and for the lack of a better term, I guess maybe older immigrants who may have gone through the system versus the illegal immigrants. And he actually said something to the effect on CNN that I just want the good ones to say.
Let me tell you,
he's going to exploit that.
You're absolutely right, Jacob. I was in Phoenix 2 weeks ago, and we did a protest in front of Arpaio. And believe it or not, there were Latinos out there that were actually telling me exactly what you just said. So you hit it on the money. But I really got to go, Jacob, to Linda. I appreciate you calling in, and I'll see you around. Linda, you are up. Linda.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Okay. Yeah, I had to hang up and get back in because I do want to say something.
Please say it, Linda.
I know there was the meetings in the houses last night, and I didn't get to go, but I hope they're going to redo more.
Right.
Hopefully they'll send me some emails, because I do think they lack a little bit of organization.
Right.
But I know you're trying to stir the waters to get people to, engage. They definitely need to engage, not just say, oh, yeah, we like Bernie. I understand that. I've been one who's, I've done a lot of calling for, I was on the Central Committee the whole bit. I'm getting out of that because I know they're going to force me to support Hillary, and I will not. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, what I'm going to say is, and you have that right. As far as I'm concerned, what I want people to do is examine the records of every single person that is running and elect what's best for them. Because what a lot of people are buying into, Linda, is a theory that because the mainstream media says that Bernie doesn't stand a chance because he uses that moniker socialist Democrat, that isn't necessarily true at all. What I want to see people do is examine the records of not only the Democrats but including the Republicans as well. Take a look at the record. You see, I am a ultra left-wing liberal, and I know I can prove mathematically what has always worked best for America. We can prove it. You and I can sit down and look at the numbers, and we can prove what's best. So then we can actually look at what these different politicians are wanting, and we can decide what is best there. So I agree with you. I mean, and I don't, I'm not going to come out and say, oh, I don't like Hillary. The reality is I do like Hillary. And there's something else that pains me. I really want more women to engage in the body politic. The fact that Hillary seems to be the only viable woman running for the presidency is a disgrace. It is an utter disgrace. There are so many women out there that are much more qualified than the cartoon we have running, that it makes one very, very upset that it is because of the way things are done in this country that many women don't feel themselves, why go through this? So, Linda, is there anything else you want to add before we go to the next caller?
Well, yeah, I was going to say why. I know Billy. Yeah. If I can talk. Bernie is trying to force for more debates.
Yes.
And you have to get the mass media to cover them. But basically, yes, I want more debates because I think his message needs to be gotten out and not just circulated by us.
Let me tell you, Linda, it's not going to happen. I want to tell you something, and I try to allude to that in what I wrote, okay? The plutocracy has, and callers, the lines, I'm going to be coming to everybody, so please don't despair. I'm going to get to each one of you. Linda, the plutocracy, okay, is simple. They decided who their candidates are going to be. It's going to be Hillary against either Bush and the guy from Wisconsin, you know who I mean. I can't remember his name as I speak. They have decided Scott Walker. They have decided who the acceptable candidates are for the plutocracy. And they are going to channel the news in that manner. We have to use the alternate media to do otherwise. Remember, Obama wasn't the one that was liked when he ran either. Hillary was the anointed one, if you remember, as well. So, I mean, folks are just going to have to do the job. But folks like you, Linda, who are listening here, and other folks that are listening on the outside, you have to do your part. You can't be frustrated. Doesn't matter what happens. You have to use every single channel that you have to put out the message out there. Linda, I really have to go to somebody else. So if you have something real quickly, give it to me, and then I can move on to Nada.
No, keep keeping the message open that they're both still viable.
Thank you, Linda. You have a wonderful day now, my friend. Let's go to Nata.
Yes.
Nata,
Hello.
you're here. Come on.
Hello.
How you doing?
How are you this afternoon?
I am great. Talk to me, Nata.
Yes, I'm really interested in this conversation. I know that there's a lot of energy that is coming across regarding Bernie Sanders and interest. I know that often we want, as in the American populace in general, we get excited with the next new thing. But I think a lot of people fail to acknowledge the fact that one reason that Hillary Clinton is so recognizable is that she is not new to our communities. Hillary Clinton was registering people to vote years ago. She was championing early childhood education, which particularly is more of an issue for persons dealing with poverty and low income than many of the people that are involved in the top tier of the progressive movement.
Right.
And I'm particularly distressed by the willingness to buy into the Republican caricature and narrative about Hillary Clinton, particularly when, if we look back on the previous presidential year, the alternate candidate, and I would say Bernie Sanders would be no different, would be willing to accept funding from whomever, including Republicans that want to manipulate the Democratic race to be able to, let's say, disrupt the momentum for Hillary Clinton. Lastly, the thing that concerns me the most of all is the sexism and sexist caricatures of Hillary Clinton that some Democrats seem to have no problem endorsing or shamefully not confronting in the media. And there's plenty of that that's directed against Hillary Clinton. And so those are my main points.
Let me tell you something. I listened to your main points, and I am going to agree with most of your main points. Okay, Hillary did all those good things. Hillary, I think, is a good person. I have nothing negative to say about Hillary. My friend earlier mentioned about maybe how sneaky she is. I mean, I tend to believe all politicians fall into some of those types of categories. I could hit Bernie Sanders with issues with guns. I could hit Bernie Sanders with issues with his upper leadership that just has begun changing. I could do all of those things, Nada, but that is not really helpful to the middle class, the poor, etc. I am not going to ask people listening to this show to enumerate what folks have done necessarily in the past only. It must be counted, but I also going to ask folks to enumerate what folks plan to do, what folks have done. I mean, there are certain things that bother me about both candidates. One of the things I said in the blog post that I want to see is a true, real debate of positions. And the other thing I said in the blog post is one of these candidates have been answering all the questions as far as what they claim they will do. And notice I said claim they will do. And the other person was out there saying, well, I'll answer that later on. So there are those issues. Look, I don't care about candidates, honestly, even in as much as I've been saying things about candidates. I don't care about candidates as much as I care about policy. It's about policy, what affects us. So I don't want anybody to be enamored with any candidate and not be enamored with the policies that's going to best suit your need. Anything else you want to add quickly, Nada, before we move on to the next? Because we're fully loaded.
No, I really appreciate your remarks, and I think that taking the character attacks out of the dialogue and more in terms of action, I think is very important. And I thank you for having the dialogue.
Thank you, ma'am. And there's something I want to reiterate that you said that is very important. The sexism must go. We have a thread of sexism in all of us, including women.
Yes,
including
indeed.
Women have been very sexist against Hillary Clinton. That we should all admonish. So thank you very much, Nada. And let's go to the next one. I think, who's the next person? Terry already spoke. So
John?
Let's go to John.
Thank you.
John Sanders. Come on in, my friend.
Yeah, good afternoon, Egberta. How you doing?
Hey, John, talk to me, my brother.
Yeah, when I heard your blog post, I just want to make sure I heard you right.
Sure.
Because did you say that if there's a competitive primary or primary, that the Democrats won't win? Did you actually make that statement?
No, not at all. In fact,
tell me what you did say, because I know it.
Not at all. What I said is I want a competitive primary. I don't have the piece in front of me right now, but I want a competitive primary. What I don't want is in the process of having a competitive primary, what occurred yesterday on the Daily Kos between Marcus Molitsas and somebody who decided to call Marcus Molitsas by all kinds of different names because he's a Hillary Clinton supporter and the other one is a Bernie Sanders supporter. I want us to fight this stuff out. In other words, I want us to have engagement as far as what policy is better, what's the best for America, etc., etc., etc. And that, I think, is going to activate a whole bunch of people. Now, I'll be honest with you. I am biased to the message that says we want to be more inclusive, redistributive because of those who've attained what they had not deserved. But you know where I stand on that position already. But I want that debate to be out there so that Americans can make an intelligent decision. So no, that you understood wrong. Come back in.
Well, I mean, I would like to hear exactly what you said, because it sure sounded like you said that.
Actually, the blog is there.
Can I make my point?
Yes, go ahead.
Right now, if you go to Great Britain and you want to place a bet on the winning party,
right.
you can't make money if you want to play to vote on a Democrat. You can't make any money because the odds are so overwhelming that a Democrat will win. So I just want you to understand that. If you want a Republican to win, you can put up $8 and you'll win $11. So, I mean, the Democrats are heavily favored, and even I do what you said about Bernie Sanders, that really isn't true across the board, because if you look at the aggregate polling, he's still behind Bush, he's still behind Walker, massively ahead of Trump. But also, Bernie has a long road to hoe.
Yes.
But, it is possible. It is very, very possible. And stranger things have happened in the world. And when you want to focus on issues, I think the more people focus on issues, the more Sanders is going to have an advantage.
Right.
And as far as Marcos, I'm a big fan of Marcos. But, he's going against a vast majority on his own blog that he owns.
I know.
By a 2-to-1 margin, people, they do this, they've had polls pretty consistently, are supporting Sanders on his own blog. And so,
listen, he knows
that. It's
not
a very palatable situation if you're the owner of a blog and you're going against what the people who read Daily Kos every day are saying, which they're vastly supporting Sanders.
Look, John, you're correct. I wrote yesterday to defend Marcos because I thought a lot of the critique was over the top. Marcos has the right to support who he wants to support, and I wanted to just tone things down, and that is what I actually said within my blog. I wanted to tone things down to let folks know it is okay that we are all liberals, progressives together. It is okay to have this debate. But John, my lines are completely full, so I gotta move on. So anything else you have to say? Give me about 10 seconds if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, just, don't give up on Bernie. I mean, I know you're trying to be objective, which is surprising for you, but I mean, Bernie is the one who has the issues on his side.
I hear you, brother.
Supports Bernie's issues.
Brother, I will continue to be objective, but you know my bias. You have a wonderful day, John. Thank you very much, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let's go to the next caller, whoever you give me, because we're loaded. Let's go to
Isaac.
Isaac, come on in, my friend.
Yeah, well, how you doing, Alberto?
I'm doing fine. Talk to me, my friend.
Well, I just coming off, I like Bernie Sanders better than I like Hillary Clinton. Just like the guy just said about the issues, mainly. And it's nothing sexist toward Hillary Clinton or nothing like that. I'm not saying. I'm going by all these things that are going on, like the cops killing all these people on the street, and she's just quiet about it. But, that I just comment on that. But my main thing I want to ask you was about, I grew up coming up out of high school when the Reagan took over and everything.
Right.
And what do you think in this country we can do to get those people that lost, all these people that we lost in the middle class to come over and vote with us, I'm saying, and try to get this shared prosperity back into this country. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Isaac, I know the answer. Shannon knows the answer. We all know the answer. Here, and the sad thing about it is, Isaac, the answer is very simple. You just have to engage. And the same way you're calling into this show, that you're listening to this show, one of the things that you have to do is tell other folks to listen to shows like this. Don't just gravitate to the Limbaughs and the crazies. Listen to some shows where we actually talk substantive stuff. Secondly, everybody's on Facebook, Twitter, and all these things. Use them. And not only send the greatest Marvin Gaye retread or the greatest Christina Aguilera retread, or I'm aging myself by calling some of these people. But Shannon, give me a younger person, man. Come on, Shannon, help me out here.
Don't ask me about music.
I listen to the show every day. I'm saying every time you come on, and I listen to, a 90.1, and because I'm a truck driver. We got off early today.
Well, look,
I work 7 hours a week, but I'm just saying. So I can't call because a truck driver.
I hear you, brother. Let me tell you though, you are the solution, and I don't. Everybody say, "Oh, you remember when Obama was running and he said you are the answer you're looking for?" Or he said something like that. Unfortunately, it was true, but we didn't pick up on it. So what we have to do is we have to make ourselves political. Most people every day during the day, they don't feel the need to be political. What I'm telling folks now is you have to be political. Your existence depends on you being political. And Shannon is telling me to shut up, that she has to go do her thing. So we'll look. I appreciate your call, Isaac. Please keep listening. Please keep calling. Most importantly, please share with other people and tell them to listen to us and do all the things necessary for us to make a difference. Thank you, Isaac.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Egberto. A mixture of clouds and sunshine in the forecast for today. High of 101. It blew the expected the expected high. So now it's 101 out there, 0.7. So going on 102 and clear skies. It feels like 108 right here in the heart of Montrose. Mixture of clouds and sunshine, and a stray shower is possible in our forecast with 20% chance of rain through this evening. Tomorrow, expect 50% chance of rain, partly cloudy skies in the afternoon, and then further in the evening, expect those showers to come. And a high around 102 tomorrow. And let's look at our traffic. Stop and go traffic on the West Loop northbound from Furnace to the Katy Freeway, and slow going on the Southwest Freeway inbound from Westland to 288 and all the way to I-45 Gulf Freeway. Major accident at Smith and Texas, and on the North Loop westbound at North Main Street, the wrecked vehicle was cleared from the center lane and right lane, and traffic is backed up from Shepherd to Irvington, but not too bad out there considering this is a bustling city that just those freeways are always packed. So this week has been rather clear. Back to you, Egberto.
Muchas gracias. Let's go to, is it William next? Yeah, I think it's William. All right, William, you're on. William?
What is two of his major career, what he's done most of his adult life was?
Yes, he was a civil rights leader.
Donald Trump.
Oh, no, you're talking about Trump. Okay, I thought you were talking about Bernie. Go ahead, tell me.
No, Donald Trump.
What was it?
He ran one of the biggest construction companies in New York, if not the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And he owns a bunch of casinos.
So
he's used to dealing with unions.
Right.
So all three, all those come under the heading of corruption, whether it's visible or invisible, right? Okay, number two.
Yes.
Do you know who the last politician in this country that I know of that ran on an anti-corruption platform was?
Wasn't that, let me think if I can remember. Actually, I don't. I wanted to say Kennedy, but I don't. Kennedy's brother.
No, this was way before Kennedy even. He was the newly elected governor of Illinois, right about the time when, what's his name, went to prison, Al Capone.
Oh, okay.
And he went to New York City to visit with, was that President, the little sawed-off guy, after...
I know who you mean.
Truman, Harry Truman.
Right.
And he was sitting at a Yankee game during the middle of the afternoon, right next to Harry Truman, and they shot him straight to the head.
Ouch. That's bad.
Now, this was in the history books when I was in high school and junior high school.
It's not there anymore.
Okay, yeah, I know. And I read two big 400-page books on the biography of Harry Truman, and neither one of them had it in there. So you know what one of his nicknames was?
No, I don't.
The stand-up guy.
All right, William, I'm running low on time. William, I'm running low on time. So, look, I appreciate your call. I appreciate your knowledge on giving us that new information. But I now have to go to, I think, is it Dave or is it Kim?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Dave. Come on, Dave.
Hey, Egberto.
How you doing, my friend?
Oh, doing very well. Just wanted to say there's only one good candidate.
Okay.
Middle of the road values. Great business success, and I've even got a tagline. He makes any candidate in 2020 look better, and that's Trump.
All right. Now, so you're a Trump supporter.
Tongue in cheek, sure.
You know something? I was going to give you, let me tell you, I tell people to call this show and say what they really feel and what they really want to talk about. And I was going to give you your space to really tell our audience why you thought Trump was the best candidate to run. I didn't know you were pulling I didn't know you were pulling my toes or pulling the hair that I don't have on my head. Anything else? Go ahead.
Grow some new ones. That's it, sir.
That's a good one. Anything else you want to add, my friend?
Those great middle of the road values.
Excellent. Thank you very much for calling, and let's go to Kim.
Hi, how are you? I'm a Hillary supporter.
How you doing, Kim?
Good. Hillary Clinton has years and years and years of experience, even starting back here in Texas when she was working for the Hispanic vote. And
Kim, let me ask you to hold 1 second, and I'm going to let you come and talk about Hillary in a minute. Folks, the telephone number, we can take a couple more calls, 713-526-5738. That number is 713-526-5738. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Kim, but come on in.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, she even has lots of experience here in Texas. People know of Hillary and Bill from when they worked here in the 70s on getting out the vote and registering Hispanic voters for Democrats. In addition to that, she did a lot of work on education in Arkansas that was widely successful. She was for universal health care in the 90s. It wasn't successful in getting passed, but definitely way more progressive than anybody could have dreamed back in the 90s on health care. And she's the only viable Democrat right now running in the primary. Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. He will not help fundraise or get other Democrats elected down ballot, which is very, very important, especially here in Texas when, it's great that we have a Democratic or even progressive president, but if we don't get local candidates elected, it's Democratic candidates, then it really doesn't help us here in the state level.
Okay, Kim, let me tell you, that was a good promo for Hillary. That was actually quite accurate because I know that. Let me just confess, back in 2008, before I was an Obama supporter, I was a Hillary supporter. I really like the woman, okay? But again, like I told my other, the earlier, I don't know if you heard me say it, I am not looking at the candidate any longer. I'm looking at policy. So Hillary has to start over like everybody running in the Democratic Party to say what she's going to do.
Her policy is right on par with Bernie Sanders. I mean, she voted 93% of the time with Bernie, and the only things that I can see major differences that I see that are actually negative for Bernie are the fact that he was supported by the NRA and is kind of, cold on gun control, and then in addition to that, he's to the right of Hillary on immigration, which is really important on the Hispanic vote from the general population.
Can I ask you to do me a favor? I have a very go to politicsdoneright.com on the thing, and you can make your case there too. Because I'm going to be going through callers real quickly now. Because
can I say one last thing?
Sure, please do quickly, please.
Policy is important, and they're on the same level pretty much for just about everything that's really kind of important here. But at the same time, if you've got policy but you don't have the ability to make anything happen, then it's worthless. So we do
actually, folks,
we do have to look at who the president is and who they're going to work with in Congress.
What Kim just said is very important, and what Kim just said is very true. So, I mean, and that's why I said I want to debate. I want to see how folks would be able to do things. I am not ready to go ahead on anybody's bandwagon, Kim, but you're a good proponent for your candidate. Thank you very much for calling in, Kim.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next caller is, and she's going to tell me, Thomas, come on in.
Hi, I'm calling about Isaac's comment about the middle class.
Yes, ma'am.
What can the Democrats do to win the middle class voters? If the last 6 years been so great, they wouldn't have to worry about the middle class voters. They would have them.
Well, actually, we have to remember that the president is not a king, and we decided to give him a Democratic Congress only for the first 2 years, and thereafter it's been Republican.
Yes, so, I understand that. Right. But he's not the only president to have had that situation.
Right, but I don't think we ever had the attacks that we've had this time. So, I mean, look, what you said is absolutely correct, right? In other words, if things had gone great for the middle class over the last 6 years, we still wouldn't have to be discussing it. The fact of the matter is we can actually identify the reasons why those things didn't go right. So thank you very much for those comments, Thomas. Please keep listening and please keep sharing, my dear friend. The next caller is
William.
William has some more to add before, and I think go ahead, William, real quickly.
All right, yeah. The one thing I wanted to bring up, I'd like to have some conversation about, is that senator that's been indicted that ran the Republican Senate or the Congress for God knows how many years, that just got indicted, that nobody's talking about anywhere, for paying off a cover-up of $3 million.
A senator or a congressman? I thought it was a congressman from Pennsylvania that was running for the mayor of Philadelphia. Are we talking about?
No, this guy ran the Senate. This is a big-time guy. I think his last name starts with an L. This is a big deal.
When did that happen? Maybe am I missing something?
It happened in like the last 3 months.
And there is a senator in the Congress who it was.
He's not even in there anymore.
Oh,
he was the head of the Republican Congress or Senate for like 10, 15 years, whatever it was.
Right.
He's a real big time guy. And what he was doing, he was paying off somebody that he had molested. Maybe it was an underage guy, but I'm pretty sure it was a guy, not a girl. And he made payoffs of $20 million, and it's just coming out now.
Okay, no, I know who you're talking. No. That is not okay. I know who you're talking about. You're talking about the. He was the Speaker of the House, not the Senate. He was the Speaker of the House, and he actually molested young boys. And yes, he is in court, and a lot of it is going to have to do with the statute of limitation. I think Shannon is telling me she has to do one more. Oh, okay, it has to do with the statute of limitations. Most of this,
but the story could still come out.
Right. Well, I mean, actually,
Nobody's talking about it because it's connected. It's interconnected to all the stuff I've been trying to report.
Well,
I know it is.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to doubt that. I mean, I thought if that person was a Democrat, the story would have had a lot more leg. Yeah. So anyway, look, it was a pleasure talking to you, my dear William. Please remember, keep listening, keep sharing, and I think.
Hey, I love your show, man.
Thank you, sir. And
I can't believe that you keep letting me on.
Well, I let all my callers on. Okay, so all my callers are valuable. So you have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're coming close to the end of my show. I have about a minute more that I can narrate a bit here, folks. Let me just give a few comments here. One, I do, unlike John earlier said, how come you're not telling us something, because he knows me as biased towards a particular ideology and et cetera, et cetera. What I think, however, we as people, as activists, whether you're an activist or not, have to do is allow people to come to conclusions for themselves, because if they come to conclusions for themselves, it sticks. If it's something that you tell them that they believe, somebody else can tell them something else that they believe, and they change. So whenever you're engaging people, make sure that you engage them in a manner in which they see the picture, that they come to the conclusions themselves, and then we can make a change. Now, this has been one more edition of Politics Done Right. I am honored that you are listening, that you're calling. Please start sending information to me if you want on our blog posts, egbertowillies.com or politicsdoneright.com. This is Politics Done Right. Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, and I am out.
Thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. You can personally reach me by sending an email to egberto@politicsdoneright.com. Remember, Egberto is spelled E-G-B-E-R-T-O. Change starts with you. 90.1 KPFT gives you information not tainted by corporate interest. Please visit kpft.org and contribute. Let's ensure continued access to real information and news remain available to all. Again, thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right.